but we're heading in. Now, yesterday, they thought they would get to the second graphic victim, Mia, but it didn't happen. And one reason was because of the motion for a mistrial about the fingerprints. We did that yesterday in a separate vlog. But then in the afternoon, the stylist Deontay Nash, his direct, was interesting, very sassy, he called Maureen Comey girl. He said, yeah, yes, girl. But the cross took a lot longer. In fact, initially Judge Subramanian said, we'll keep the jury until 4 so that this witness can finish and fly back to California. He had a ticket. Maureen Comey said we're going to have to rebook him because Xavier Donaldson, who's so far done 3 cross-examinations, and there's a pattern there. If you check the transcripts, it's on Inner City Press, and week 3 on Google Play will be out shortly. Tomorrow is the end of week 3. Xavier Donaldson's cross was hard hitting. He asked him, apparently he found in the 3500 material, which is that the prosecution has to give the defense basically every piece of paper they have about their witnesses. Not long before they testify, but before they testify. And somewhere in those notes was apparently a notation that Maureen Comey noticed either an odor, maybe a certain redness of eye. Anyway, she asked, or he told it. Could be Deontay Nash said it. He said, I didn't say I was high, I said I was smoking. He appeared for his interview with the SDNY prosecutors, high as a kite. I don't know if he flew back to California that day, if he got rebooked. I don't know how much has been spent flying him around. I will say he was an interesting witness. And he's going to continue this morning, pretty soon. In fact, maybe before I put this up. So anyway, that's it. Then Mia, let's be serious. Mia is going to testify. And I think it's going to be it's going to be a real point in the trial. Let's just put it that way. There's no mistrial granted, and now another victim is taking the stand. So there's that. There's other trials coming up here, and I have to. Every time there's a break, I run around the courthouse. I ran to the mag court yesterday. There was a guy charged with sex with a minor. He was detained.
Okay. All right. Also yesterday, these are exhibits that were shown in court. So this was Kid Cudi's other Porsche that, when Brian Steele was asking, the investigators, they said, well, does he have another Porsche? They said yes. Remember, they were trying to allude to the fact that maybe Kid Cudi burned down his or destroyed his own Porsche, maybe for insurance money, because clearly insurance would pay that out, right? And he's like, Kid Cudi has another Porsche. Did you put that in the report? It says, no. I didn't think it was relevant. So this is the other Porsche that he had. Then, here. This was the glove that was supposedly found on the seat. And they're like, so wait, you're doing a arson investigation. You see a bottle broken inside the vehicle. It was cut from the top. You say you can't really find fingerprints, but you find a glove. Well, wouldn't you test the glove? And they're like, well, we were going to go test the glove, but we asked Kid Cudi whose glove it is it, or does he recognize it? And he says, yeah, that's my glove. That's my driving glove. And they're like, okay, all right, makes sense. We won't even look at it. So Brian Steele's just saying, this was a shoddy investigation. They also went into, obviously, the part where the mistrial came up about, which was the idea that LAPD destroyed evidence, but the AUSA tried to make it look like maybe Diddy had them do it, right? Or Diddy had somebody, in LAPD do it, right? Okay. All right, Chad. We're caught up. Let's go get into what's been happening, all right? Okay. Let's see. All right. So they started about 2 hours ago. So let's get caught up to speed real quick. So this is before the jury came in. Alexander Spiro. It says the articles in that scrapbook aren't being offered for the truth, okay? Now, they're always arguing about what could be used, what could be, referred to. They did it in pre-trial before this whole thing all started, but, each day, everyone's, they're adjusting their strategies. This is really a chess game. And they're like, well, they mentioned this yesterday, so we should be able to bring in this today. And then the judge got to make a decision. Alexander Shapiro says the articles in the scrapbook aren't being offered for the truth, okay? So that's also this thing about hearsay and, testimony that isn't, pretty much evidentiary. You know what I mean? You don't want people to go up there and be like, yeah, I think Diddy did it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Diddy was always mean to me. He sound like he did it, all that shit. No. That's not a testimony that's worth anything or should be even heard by the jury. Super prejudicial. And if you're offering that as the truth, which is usually what a witness testimony is supposed to be, either that or there's a few other things. I don't want to get into that right now. Okay, cool. So the articles in the scrapbook aren't being offered for the truth. The AUSA says the article that Combs wanted to get to the bottom of Biggie's murder, but the feds are investigating us. They have been trying to get this in. Submarinian says if it went back to the jury room as evidence, it could be prejudicial against the prosecution. But to let the jurors look at it as it's just as demonstrative, right? So if they flip through it, okay, if it's passed around, we want a limited instruction. So who's going to be cross-examining Mia? Shapiro says Steele is back in the game. So Steele is checked back in. Steele says, what if we redact the part about Biggie's murder? The judge says, it's more than that. You could concede the articles aren't relevant to this case. It's that scrapbook that was put together. Now, I don't know what scrapbook you're talking about. Hopefully we get some answers in a second. Judge says, you've been given some leeway. I'll leave it to you. Steele says, I don't want to waive the issue. Thank you. The judge says the social media post, there's an objection. I'll overrule it. The text message, my sense are parts in that threads are hearsay. AUSA says they're trying to show that the defendant was going through some heavy shit, and that's why he was asking this way. The judge says, what about her smelling her own armpit? The AUSA says, I don't think that's relevant. The judge says, okay, 401. When they mention numbers like that, they're talking about this rule of evidence that they're quoting why they're admitting or not admitting. AUSA says at 8:55, the defense sent me a slew of messages from Deontay Nash. They should be excluded. So they're saying they just got it this morning. Donaldson says, judge says, Donaldson, what are these? Donaldson says, we want 2 photos in. The rest are for impeachment. So they look like they're trying to hold Nash in a impeachment way to show that he's been lying. AUSA says, I was told of the photos last night. Fine. The judge says, bring Nash back, then our jury. So look like their strategy is going to be showing that this guy, the sassy dude up there, the stylist, he's a fucking liar. Right? Give me a second. Cool. All right, so they bring, they also said, we booked this witness flight for 2 p.m. We're hoping he will be off the stand in time to make that flight. So all rise. Dawson says, how are you? Deontay Nash says, blessed. I could just imagine this nigga in court. Blessed and highly favored. Dawson says, DX 1806. That's an exhibit. It says, these are texts from you. Dawson says, what was Capricorn's Clark role in 2011? The mixtape. It says, nah, she was gone by then. Dawson says, what did she work on when she was there? So maybe the photo shoot you guys showed yesterday. I learned a lot from Capricorn, actually. Dawson then says, do you recall a picture of Cassie and the green hair? Nash says, yeah, that was a group idea. I walked the carpet with Cassie in New York at the VMAs. It was a curated look. By the way, if you notice, this guy is pretty self-centered. Like, anytime this isn't about your fashion looks. This is about Cassie and her abuse in a criminal trial. He keeps talking about what he did. Oh, yeah, I walked the red carpet with her. I did that look. Like, niggas mad sassy. Hella sassy. Donaldson said, did you have to get approval? He says, yes, from Puff. Then Donaldson says, you said Mr. Combs was kicking Cassie on the ground. And you said the unfortunate eye gash incident, right? He said, yes. Donaldson says, you didn't tell the prosecutor she was kicked while bleeding? Said they didn't ask. I only answered what they asked. Donaldson says, do you know Cassie was in a relationship with Kid Cudi while she was in a relationship with Combs? Nash says, okay. He says, did you know or did you not know? He says, well, I thought her and Puff broke up. Yeah, this guy's mad sassy. Yo. He think he a star. That's the worst type of witness. They think the show's about them. Donaldson says, Cassie was in South Africa. You were at the Revolt conference in Miami, right? Nash says, yes, I was there to style Lil' Kim. Donaldson says, so you... And Nash says, yeah, I put together her with Michael B. Jordan. I mean, he fine. So he fine, she fine. Why not? Chad, I keep telling you, this guy's sassy, bro. The judge says, hold on. Look like the judge is about to scold the witness just to say, shut the fuck up until the question is fully asked before you answer it. And only answer what you're asked. right? Because you could tell this gay dude wanted to say too much, and he's cutting off the guy while he's asking questions. Donaldson says, so Gina was in Miami too. Nash says, no, you don't put that on me. See, he's mad sassy. Don't put that on me. They kept me away from seeing Gina. Donaldson says, did Cassie get upset? Nash says, she said, why does he keep humiliating me in my career? So Donaldson says, oh, so she was upset. Nah, not really. Donaldson says, you set her up with Michael B. Jordan? Yes. And Mia drove it home, making sure she had his number. Donaldson says, so a bad boy employee set her up with Michael B. Jordan. Well, he says Michael Jordan. It says, well, that's Michael B. Jordan. Don't mess that up. Yeah, this guy's sassy, huh? Donaldson then says, do you know Andre Branch? Nash says, nope. So were you aware that Cassie was in a relationship with Andre Branch? Oh, the cute football player. Yeah. But I never met him. He says, and in 2016 with Brandon of the NFL. The NBA, sorry. Who's Brandon in the NBA? Brandon Jennings? No, wait, let me Google it. Brandon Jennings, Cassie? Not Brandon Jennings, right? Which Brandon do you think they're talking about? Brandon Roy? Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy, Cassie. Brandon Roy's relationship with Cassie is that they're not romantically involved. What? Why would it just come up like that? Bro, I can't read the sassy nigga shit non-sassy. He's too sassy for me, even through text. Okay. It says, in these texts you talk with Cassie about Michael B. Jordan. You say, no one better say shit to me. L-Y. What is L-Y? Love you. Or maybe it's a typo. L-Y, know everything. I don't remember. I'm just sure we were being antagonized by your client. Yo, this guy is so sassy. You can imagine he's shaking his head. All I know back then was that I was being antagonized by your client. Donaldson then says, so was Cassie upset by Gina? She'd say, girl. Chat, is my gay impression on point or not? Girl, let's go out and do our thing. Donaldson says, did you do what she wanted to do? But do what she wanted to? What? I don't know what this means. So now the gay dude says, actually, we're both pretty chill. We stayed in the house a lot, but that would be fair. Donaldson then says, let's read these messages. You do the blue, I'll do the other person. Nash says, ooh, you got some names in here. Donaldson says, just go ahead. As I said, chat, he's being mad sassy. Nash says, where you going? Donaldson then says, secret trip, because he's reading us Cassie. Where are you? Secret trip out town. Nash says, girl. Oh my God, this is so fucking. Bro, can I have Siri do this reading, bro? I don't want to, bro. This is, I gotta have like an AI do the reading, bro. Girl. It's crazy that Inner City Press is writing it out like this. Girl. Okay, everybody's laughing. So I guess this dude, you see, again, this witness is also thinking this is their moment because people in court is laughing at them. So that's why he's being funny. He's trying to get a little joke in. Like the gallery is feeling entertained, right? So, but he's doing a lot, which is probably hurting the defense attorney because he can't get straight answers. He's getting like these little snarky, snappy comebacks. Nash says, good friends don't pry. That's not my method. I just replied, girl. Donaldson then says, highlight the green part. Cassie's telling you, October 30th, 2013, after the incident with a cut on her face, she says, I've already been turning up too much. Donaldson then says, did you see her with a black guy on FaceTime around the time of the Intercontinental? Nash says, I saw it in person. When her makeup would wear off, you could see that shit. Donaldson then says, let Mr. Donaldson ask you the questions. And he keeps, this is the second time the judge is scolding this person. Stop offering too much information. Just let the nigga ask you the questions and answer what he asks, bro. Donaldson says, you read these. After Cassie says, this nigga is wasted. We both did the same. Nash says, is there a lot of people there? Ooh, it's talking about a Gwen Stefani song. Donaldson says, he says, take your broke ass home and ride into the sunset. Nash says, and we did. Oh my God. Donaldson says, did she mention to you about having threesomes with other men? Ugh, no, she didn't tell me. You could tell this gay ass nigga would be like, why am I not invited? Donaldson then says, Mr. Nash, read that to yourself, then lift up. On May 10th, you told the government the videos came from her phone. Nash says, no. I told them that he would tape her on her phone. Donaldson then says, isn't it true she said videos were from her phone? Nash says he would record on her phone. I stand firm on that. So basically they're asking about certain things he told investigators before the trial. And now what he's saying in the trial. Donaldson says, you said Mr. Combs said, you won't do this one thing for me? Okay, and then they continue. You say you saw Mr. Combs pointing in Cassie's face in The Blind Dragon, right? But you never told the government that, right? The first time you said is at trial. Nash says, I guess so. I gave them very little by phone. She said she didn't want to go. Donaldson then says, you helped her pick her clothes for the court? Nash says, wait. Oh, maybe he's still working with Cassie now. He says, you helped her pick her clothes for court. Nash says, she couldn't fit anything. She needed clothes. Donaldson said, for the pregnancy? Nash says, right? Okay, so he's still working with her now. Donaldson says, on that Friday after she finished, she called you and said, I'm done. Nash says, it wasn't like that. Donaldson says, did you and Cassie ever get super high? Nash says, what? No, I did not. And then the judge is trying to tell him again, just answer the fucking question. It's either no, I didn't, or yes, I did. The dude is up there like, oh, like you know, gay niggas, what? Oh, doing all that type of gay ass shit. Like the judge is like, bro, calm your sassy gay ass down, nigga. Like, why can't gay people just be like regular gay? Why you gotta me? Like, it's just always like flamboyant. Like there's nothing. Listen, being gay is straight. Is there a flamboyant gene? Like, why they gotta do that? Why you gotta do so much? Girl, like, why you gotta do all that? Anyway, Donaldson says, this 29th birthday, you said she packed sex toys in her duffel bag from her bedroom, right? So now he's finally listening. Correct. Donaldson says, Mr. Combs didn't say grab the sex toys. Nash says they were going, and then Donaldson, I guess he cuts her off, says on the golf cart. Let's talk about Vegas, New Year's, 2016 and 2017. You said you were told Cassie was sleeping all day. Nash says correct. Put up DX 1847 for the parties only. So what is this? Nash says Cassie. Donaldson says the low budget producer you mentioned was there. Nash says, yeah, he was right next to me, snoring. Donaldson says, you say Cassie told you another man was coming over and asked you to leave. Nash says, both of us. Donaldson says, your reaction was sighing, right? Nash says, yes. Donaldson says, you saw a man walking around knocking on the door and they let him in. Nash says, yes. Donaldson says, there weren't no drugs, right? Nash says, we were doing them in our separate places. Once I start working, I just start going. I was packing my 10 body bags. Donaldson then says, then they went to a hotel and she didn't tell you she didn't want to go, right? Nash says, actually, she said she wanted to stay home, work on her music. Donaldson said, okay, just read the green, bro. Nash says, enjoy y'all time together. Y'all don't get much of this. All right. Donaldson then says, that's you telling Cassie in January 2017 to enjoy her time with Puff, right? Nash says, yes. Donaldson says, Cassie wrote, I spoke up for myself. And you wrote, you wish you were with them on that vacation. Basically, I guess, I hate niggas like Donaldson. Yo, I catch one of y'all gay besties in my girl's ear telling her some dumb shit, I'm slapping you too, and it's not going to be a hate crime. Okay? She looked like Cassie. Remember the vacation Cassie couldn't go on with Puff? And Cassie's bitching at Puff like, well, if I can't go because you're spending time with your kids, why is your baby mama there? And Diddy's trying to like bullshit to her like, no, that's their mom. It's not even me. I'm not there with her. I don't want Kim Porter there. She's there because that's her kids. This is a family vacation. She just happened to be family. Diddy's an old school player. He just lying about everything, right? So I guess Cassie's now venting to her gay bestie. This is why people call them the male straight nigga who listens to a girl talk about another man, a gay best friend. Because this is exactly what gay best friends do. So the gay best friend, literally, the stylist, is literally telling her, girl, you wish you was on vacation with them. Stop capping. and Nash says, no, I meant Mexico, not with them. Okay. Donaldson says, Cassie wrote, the next room is on the beach. This one is on the golf course. I got everything organized. Nash wrote, LOL, do you have a lot of shit? Donaldson, as Cassie says, yeah, but we made all fit. Nash says, girl, you always on vacation. Jesus Christ. Jesus Cristo. Jesus. All right. Donaldson says, did you stay in touch with Mr. Combs? Nash says, yeah, because he was cutting up. What that mean? Donaldson says, oh, I get it. You did a seafood thing with Cassie, right? Correct. Donaldson says, DX 1814. You know Kim Porter, right? The woman who tragically passed. Nash says, yep. Donaldson says, did you know that Andre Harrell passed too? He said, yep. Donaldson says, you texted Mr. Combs to make sure he's okay. Nash says, correct. Donaldson says, Mr. Combs wrote to you, the trainer? You couldn't give me a heads up with a black heart emoji. How is she? Did he mean Cassie? Damn, so I guess when Diddy find out that Cassie fucking a trainer, he texts the gay stylist saying, yo, really the trainer, bro? And you couldn't tell me that she was cheating with the trainer? Obviously he hired her as a stylist for Cassie, but clearly this was Cassie's friend, so Cassie wasn't going to go tell him, right? And Nash says yes. Donaldson says, in 2020, you wrote to Mr. Combs, I love you. Anything you need, I got you. Nash says, yes. Donaldson says, Mr. Combs won an award and you congratulated him. Nash says, I don't think so. I asked how to RSVP to his party for somebody else, Claire Summers. Donaldson says, did Cassie tell you about a secret trip? AUSA objects. They sustain it. Donaldson says, you deeply care for Cassie, right? For 15 years? Nash says, yes. Donaldson says, did she keep secrets from you? Nash says, and I do from her. We don't got to tell each other everything. Donaldson says, nothing further. Redirect. Marie and Comey gets back and be like, why were you afraid for Cassie? Nash says, well, things was getting violent fast. AUSA says, what devices did Mr. Combs use to film her? Nash says hers, meaning maybe her phone or whatever devices she owned. AUSA says, you said they appeared high at the 29th birthday party. Nash says, yes. AUSA says, was Mr. Combs in control of his actions? Nash says, yes. AUSA says, what did you say? Nash says, you're gonna go get some dick tonight. AUSA says, did she want to go? Nash says no. Remember, it was a 29th birthday party. Cassie's having a party with friends. And in the middle of the party, Diddy says, fuck these niggas. Let's go have a freak off. So he wanted her to leave the party with her friends to go freak off. Okay? Okay, so he said, did you want to go? No. No further question. Donald, they said, any question from you? Nothing from me. Mr. Nash gets excused. The next witness will use a pseudonym. There will be no recording. Ooh. Witness comes in. How will you be identified? Mia. Who is this? What? Don't show this exhibit. What is this? My passport. Show it only to the jury. Combs says, Steele says, I want to see it too. Where are you from? Virginia Beach, Virginia. Who is this? Sean Combs. Okay, who's from Virginia Beach around Diddy? Come on, Chad. Come on. We gotta find out who. We gotta find out who. We gotta find out who, Chad. Who's from Virginia Beach around Diddy? Who? Mia is from Virginia Beach. Who? Come on. This ain't Jane Doe. This is a pseudonym. Or maybe this is Jane Doe. This may be Jane Doe. Okay. So who is it? Sean Combs. What did you call him? Puff. I worked for him as a personal assistant. Mia says, then as a director of development and acquisition. All right, we could just Google it. All right. All right. Why even use a pseudonym? We're going to figure out who you are. Director of development and acquisitions for Revolt Films. It's going to pop up. It's going to pop up on your LinkedIn, dummy. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Director of Development and Acquisitions, Revolt. Let's go LinkedIn. LinkedIn always got the shit. Casting, talent relations. Director of business. Come on. Sarah Burns. Okay, fuck. Chat, help me. Help me. We're going to find out who she is. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. How is it working there? Puff's mood changed all the time. Okay, this is a woman. I don't got to do that voice. Pause. AOSA says, was he violent to you? Mia says, yeah, he threw things at me. Yeah, he threw me against the wall, into pool. Ice bucket on my head. Slammed my arms into a door. He sexually assaulted me. Wow. Okay. So this is a victim, yes. Sexually assaulted you more than once? More than once. AOSA says, did you want to be in the arts? Mia says, yes. This was before social media. I thought if I put my mattress on my car and drove to New York, I could do it. I went to work for Georgina Chapman, the red carpet dressing. Then I was an assistant to Michael Myers. How did Mr. Combs hire you? I met with a recruiter. I met with HR. Is it HR? I met with HR and Tony Byes Fletcher. So, did Mr. Combs interview you? So yes, he did at his apartment. He was on the phone. He was wearing his underwear. The HR lady left. Said, did he put clothes on? Yes. Did you get the job? Yes. I was excited. How much did you expect to work? He says, a lot, but I didn't fully understand. So how much were you paid? $50,000. What did you do on your first day? HR told me I was on trial for 2 weeks. He said, where did you start? His Alpine, New Jersey house. I was there all day. Then where? Back to his office for a few more hours. And I was told Puff wanted me to come to the studio. How long were you there? Until 1 p.m. the next day. Did you go? He says, yes, to Puff's apartment, then home. How fast did you have to return? I didn't take a nap. I didn't want to risk it. How much sleep did you get during the first 24 hours on the job? I didn't. I took it as a challenge. There'd been a TV show a few years ago called I Want to Work for Diddy. It was like that? It was like that. He said, how did you deal with the lack of sleep? When I was young, I tell myself you could sleep at 3 p.m. Steele says, objection. They overrule it. Says, how long did you stay up once? 5 days. I took Adderall with extended release. I could quasi-function, stay awake. When did you go to sleep? My hearing went and my equilibrium was off. Blurred vision, lights that weren't there. I cried. Were you told when you could sleep? Yes. By whom? Puff. Why did you stay awake that long? I was working. AUSA says, I'm introducing some exhibits. It take a long process to do it. And it says these exhibits are on the seal. Combs says, we renew our objection. Judge says, admitted, under seal. Mia says, what is this? A list of my responsibility. I sent to Tony Baez Fletcher on November 10th, 2011. Puff had said, I don't know what you do all day. AUSA says, let's focus on a few things in this document. Please read this. Mia says, all of PD's or Puff Daddy's social media presence. AUSA says, who's PD? Sean Combs, Puff Daddy. I wrote, main liaison between Puff Daddy and Hollywood. Did you do that? Mia says, yes, BlackBerry, 24/7. Mia says, I had to anticipate his moods. AUSA says, why was that important? It dictated the day. AUSA says, you wrote, every day is different. And Mia says, and that he could ask you to crack his knuckles or do his taxes. AUSA says, did you have an apartment? Mia says, yes, in New York City. Were there much? He says, no, my roommate joked that they live with a ghost. So were you there much? AUSA says, in LA, where did you stay? In a staff house, then in a Puff house, 9933 Beverly Grove, then 9374 Beverly Crest Drive, then 200 South Mapleton. In Miami, where'd you stay? We stayed at Two Star Island, which is Diddy's mansion there. Says, could you leave? Only with Puff's permission. I only left at 2 a.m. after he was asleep. I got in big trouble. By the way, some of this is going to the forced labor shit, right? So this is, what she's describing, if you believe it, is inhumane. Inhumane living conditions, okay? Okay. Mia says, security called me to say he was sending them to find me. It was at the first LA house, 2009 or 2010. AUSA says, were you allowed to lock your bedroom door? Mia says, no. He said, it's my house. No one locks my door in my house. So it really wasn't my room. AUSA says, but did security get to lock their doors? Mia says, yes. One had a deadbolt, another had a keypad. Mia says, I was told they were actively hiring other assistants. AUSA says, how long to Malcolm, the assistant who was there with you, to stay? Started. When you started, stay. Okay, so he says 7 to 8 months. There was another assistant named Malcolm. We haven't heard much about that person. Says, were you the only one then after the 7 or 8 months? Because Malcolm left. Says, yes, for a year. How did you feel? I didn't have time to feel. It was insane. Puff gave me a pep talk like we were a team. He said I needed a second brain. Did he hire more? Yes, eventually, but I still felt like I was responsible. Did you get punished in various ways? I was getting cursed out. My intelligence was insulted. My job was threatened. Who did those things? He says, Puff. Who's this? That's George Kaplan. He says he was another personal assistant for Puff after me. Okay, we're going somewhere now. What was Revolt Films? Me and Puff started it together. Let's look at Revolt Films. Revolt Films. Revolt Films. No. Oh, what the fuck? Can't find too much about it. Puff and I started together. Were you still performing personal assistant duties? Yes. How much did you get paid? $70,000, then $100,000. There were supposed to be bonuses. Did you get them? No. Judge said, let's break. They come back from the break. They're back. Who's this? Cassie Ventura. How did you know her? Working for Puff. We became close friends. Still today? She says, yes. So she's still cool with Cassie. How was their relationship? Highs and lows. Very unequal. Was there violence in their relationship? Yes. We'll get back to that. That's what AUSA says. What was Mr. Combs' role in respect to her career? Mia says he decided on everything. Shows the look. AUS says 3T107R. What is this? He says an email from Cass to Puff and others. Me. AUSA says, when did she send it? Mia says it was 4 a.m. It says 7 a.m., but we're in California. It was one of their hotel nights. AUSA says, what did she write? Mia says she was canceling, apologizing to Interscope and others. AUSA says, did Mr. Combs respond? Please read. Mia says, Cass wrote about telling Slevin Hill. AUSA says, what do you think? What did she mean? What do you think? Says Stephen Hill of BT. Cass wrote, no support, no show. AUSA says, why did you forward this to Tony Fletcher? Mia says, I had to keep her informed. She was in charge of booking hotels. AUSA says, did you ever see Mr. Combs on a movie set? Mia says, yes. Everyone would be nervous. He would be inserting himself. AUSA says, what was his role in respect to Cassie's appearance? Says Mia says he was in charge of it. AUSA says, did you have exposure to Cassie's finances? She says yes. He says, how? I learned the company paid her credit cards and that the places she lived were under the company names and her cars. AUSA says, did he take things away? Yes. Cars, jewelry, and support. If he couldn't get on her phone. Ooh. So, like, I guess if Diddy, if he wanted to see her phone or she was, like, doing sneaky shit on the phone, he sent Dia Sims. Dia Sims. I think this is her. Let's look at Revolt Films. Oh, yeah, it's her. You got it. Chat, y'all so good. Revolt Films. Look. Yep. Some of those other names we're probably going to see. This is her career. Okay. She was promoted. First person with the role. Okay. She left in 2019, a year after Cassie broke up with him. It might be her, chat. Let's see. If she mentions these other companies, then that's her. We'll see. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, did he take things away? Yes, cars, jewelry, and support if he couldn't get on her phone. Mia says he'd keep tabs on her through me. AUSA says, what part of your job was it to spend time with Cassie? It was like, yes, I had to do whatever Puff told me to do. AUSA says, could you go wherever you wanted? It says, no, we had to be where Puff told us we could be. And if not, Mia says something very scary. The punishment was unpredictable but terrifying. AUSA says, we'll talk about that as we get through your testimony. How would Combs communicate with Ms. Ventura? Mia says sometimes through me. AUSA says, did you see violence? What kind? Mia says, I saw a lot of aftermath and injury she had. I had seen him attack her and throw her on the ground. I've seen him crack her head open. I've seen him chase her, things like that. AUSA says, did she fight back? Answer was no. Okay. Dia Sims.
Guest has been working with music legend and business mogul Sean Diddy Combs since 2005 and has played an integral part in growing his businesses. Dia Sims, president of Combs Enterprises, joins us now. So, Dia, you've had a really interesting career.
Thank you.
You actually worked at the Department of Defense,
yes.
advertising sales, and the pharmaceutical industry. How
so
did
many
you?
things.
Yeah, I mean, and
so
then
many spirits, liquor, drugs,
and now you have this really cool job. How did you land at Combs Enterprises?
Yes. So I used ad sales, and I was able to get Bad Boy Records at the time to be. I broke them. I was like,
It's a possibility that Christina Karam is this person too. Let's look up Christina Karam. Even though I don't think that woman would. Christina Karam. I don't think she would snitch on Diddy because I could tell she loved Diddy. But here's the thing. I do think that she was probably exposed to charges as well. She was exposed to a lot of charges. And we're not hearing her mention shit. Christina Karam speaks out. What? When did she speak out?
Been really seen too much.
I haven't heard nothing about this woman. Christina Karam. Let's see. I don't know. No, it's not Christina Karam because she mentioned she stopped working with Diddy. Didn't she mention when she stopped working with Diddy? Anyway, we will see. Let's watch this interview here.
like the first client for this radio station in New York. And then I sold Sean John, et cetera. And when Puff was looking for a chief of staff, someone said, you know what, you send a lot of emails at 3 a.m. I think you guys would get along. Will you come meet him? And I did, and that was 2005.
Wow, 3 a.m.
2005. Does this person say they started in 2005? Let's go up again. Is she from Virginia Beach? That's all we got to... Is Christina... yeah, we can find out who. Christina Coram, Virginia Beach. She did put out a... Look, she's a former chief of staff to Sean Combs. She denies this. For months, horrific accusation has been made about me in various lawsuits regarding me, my former boss. Oh, wow. So she stepped aside. In a statement obtained by TMZ, these false allegations of my involvement are causing irreparable and incalculable damage to my reputation and emotional well-being of me and my family. I've never condoned or aided or abetted. Okay, yeah, this sounds like she about to cooperate. Yeah. Never condoned, aided, or abetted the sexual assault of anyone, nor have I ever drugged anyone. The idea I would be accused of playing a role in or be a bystander to the R word of anyone is beyond upsetting, disturbing, and unthinkable. This is not who I am, and my heart goes out to all victims. I'm confident the allegations against me will be proven untrue. Yeah, she never spoke out about him, though.
Yes. You're working hard still.
That's the hustle porn that Miles likes to talk about.
Stop,
Rising grind.
yeah.
That was pre-Instagram, but nowadays you post every time and say, look, the alarm clock says 4 a.m. and I'm up.
Right.
Rising grind. Let me ask you, I'm so glad we have you in because I cover sports business, and in that realm, the idea of having a big name athlete come and rep your brand or appear in an ad is becoming less and less valuable. Brands are moving more toward, we're working with Steph Curry behind the scenes. He's an advisor and he gets an equity stake in our startup.
Sure.
So in your world, we're talking about music stars, we're talking about Diddy, who's such a big star. Do you find that he's still kind of as valuable as ever in terms of brands and companies wanting him to put his stamp of approval on something, be a partner with them, appear in something, and how do you kind of keep that momentum going for...
How does that change how you manage that brand? Because
enterprises.
I was just going to say better.
I want to hear her talk about Diddy, bro. Here we go.
So I think there's a lot of room to grow to understand the true business of entertainment. So the opportunity to work for Sean Combs to me was interesting and exciting because I thought I could learn something there. And what was initially interesting and intriguing to me about the position was like, this is a guy who I can really, truly learn from. Before I came here, I've worked in everything from infectious disease to trainer jets. But here, being able to understand deeply what it takes to develop a fragrance, sitting in innovation sessions as we come up with the latest flavor for Ciroc vodka, those opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think this is her. She's not mentioning, because she on the stand, she's not mentioning anything about liquor. She's mentioning films. This woman isn't talking about films.
Allowed me to grow my knowledge base deeply, which is beneficial to me. It helps me be the best possible professional that I can be. Now, having worked for Combs Enterprises for 12 years, I never had to go anywhere else because every single day there's a new adventure. It's exciting, and as I had mentioned earlier, I actually love the challenge of being in different businesses. Look back at good 6 states ago. The journey from good to great.
I don't think this is her, bro.
So I will never forget the very first time that I sat down to have a meeting.
Laser focus her brilliance on helping one another because she understands that helping another person is really helping yourself. The organization of Thread does the ever-increasing hard work and the need of connecting communities truly one to another, truly from one zip code to where there's extreme poverty to a zip code where there's extreme wealth. In Baltimore, where we live, within 5 blocks, and the average life expectancy in some areas drops 20 years. Sarah has the courage of a knight and the mouth of a sailor. Exactly. Exactly the recipe for badass goodness and the exact kind of woman I'm so honored to call a friend. Thank you to IPG and the New York Women of Communications.
All right, we're not getting anything from that. Chat, give me another name. I don't think that's it. All right. AOSA says, you got punished. Mia says, in various ways. I would get cursed out, my intelligence insulted, and job threatened. Who did those things? She said, Puff. So who is this? That's George Kaplan. He was another personal assistant for me, for Puff, after me. What was Revolt Films? Me and Puff started together. Were you still performing assistant duties? Okay, no, I read this already. Sorry. Yeah, we're further down. Sorry. Okay. All right. Did you see violence? What kind? I saw a lot of aftermath and injury she had. I seen him attack her and throw her on the ground. I've seen him like crack her head open. I've seen him chase her, things like that. Did she fight back? No. What did you hear and see? Suitcases being thrown into the foyer. Did you see Cassie after that? She was outside crying in a bush. She looked terrified. She gestured, I'm not hiding. I'm not here. AOSA says, what did you do? I retreated. Did you tell anyone? I think the chef was in the kitchen. The sentiment was like, and Steele objected, because that's about to be like a hearsay, talking about state of mind pretty much, instead of what she's seen or what she has firsthand knowledge of. Sustained, what did the chef say to you? Objection. AOSA says not offered for the truth, and it was then sustained. So it says, what happened in Cassie's apartment? We were there, me, Cassie, and Deontay Nash. What were you doing? Helping her pack for a big trip to London. Puff came in banging on the door, very irate. How did he get in? A key from the front desk. What was Mr. Combs asking Cassie? He said, have you been drinking or something? She hadn't been answering his calls. What did Mr. Combs do? He came in after me and Deontay screaming. Has she been drinking? He was crazy aggressive. He attacked her. Mia says he threw her to the ground. Me and Deontay jumped in and tried to stop it. What did you do? Deontay's very small in comparison to Puff. There was a little tornado going on. Me and Deontay was in a position where I was scared he was going to kill him. So I jumped on Puff, but he threw me off against the wall. I felt like it was in slow motion. I realized we were in big danger. He ran to the bedroom and grabbed Cass. Under the bed in this wood bed platform, he slammed her head into the corner. Wow. So again, they're still kind of in a roundabout way going with this idea. Like they're giving different testimonies, multiple point of views about some of the same incidents that have been laid out before. Now, here's the thing. What this person, Mia, has, what they have said, though, is they agreed that, no, not they agreed. Mia says that she was also sexually assaulted. So we're supposed to get some new evidence. But right now, at least as far as her testimony goes, she's just corroborating some of this abuse stuff on Cassie. Okay? Okay, perfect. Hold on, my bad. I'm like checking my messages and shit. Sometimes there's some stuff there. All right. AOSA says, what injuries did Cassie get? Her head was gushing blood. AOSA says, what did Combs do? He got into protective survivor mode. He said, call the doctor and so-and-so. Tell him Cassie was drunk and hit her head. Why did you do it? Mia says Puff said so. So it looked like they called the doctor and they told the doctor, hey, she hit her head. And apparently the employees went along with that story, even though they knew that Diddy supposedly banged her head against something that was a knot. Okay? All right. Interesting. Yo, who do y'all think it is? Y'all don't think this is her? Deontay Nash interview. He's sassy. We know there's an interview of this nigga somewhere. He looked like he couldn't wait for his day. Is this him? Have we never heard from Deontay Nash before? The reason why I'm saying is that if we could get an interview of Deontay Nash, he might be like, oh, I work for Puff, I'm one of the assistants, or he might talk about his time and mention Mia's real name. Because Mia worked as a assistant with him. Y'all saying Ike Turner don't got nothing on Diddy? Yo, who could it be? I think because this person went by a pseudonym, I'm even more interested.
And this woman right here, the most. Stay up. Please get this woman. Yo, watch the water. Watch that water. Please watch that water. Absolutely. Only wife to be born is safe, free.
Yes, Miss Combs got another Elizabeth Taylor today.
Smile, be strong. Love you guys so much.
Did.
King, I love you.
I hate when people like, oh, I love you. You know them people. Them people ain't put that damn record on the road. Oh, I love you. Say something.
Safety, everybody. You already know.
What?
Come around this way. What side? The other side?
This is like outside the courtroom.
Chilly, right?
Hey,
What up, Beyonce?
Oh, that's Deontay.
He's coming on out here. Hey, when you come out here tomorrow, you better answer me.
Beyonce, what happened? They call him Beyonce.
It's Quincy.
And this woman right here, the most. Stay up. Please get this woman. Yo, watch the water. Watch that water. Please watch that water.
Absolutely.
Only wife to be born is safe, free.
Yes, Miss Combs got another Elizabeth Taylor today.
smile, be strong. Love you guys so much.
All right. Sitting here waiting for some more tweets. We're caught up. They're about to go to lunch in a second. Mia says his eyes were black, okay? I guess they're describing how Diddy looked. It was like he was looking through me. He was completely, I guess they're trying to say how angry Diddy was. The judge said, let's get to the next question. AUSA says, did you see Mr. Combs take drugs? Mia says, yes. How high did he appear? Sometimes the life of the party or hyper. AUSA says, where was this? Ibiza or Burning Man or one of the music conferences. AUSA says, when he smashed your head in, did he seem high? And Mia says, no. Did you go to Prince's party? Mia says, yes. What happened the night before? There was a big award ceremony. It was at a suite in Beverly Hills. Mia says, he told me to stay with Cassie, that he was going to be at his house with his kids. But then I heard about Prince's party. AUSA says, what did you do? Cass and I debated like little kids if we should sneak out the house. So, okay. And by the way, this has helped trying to prove this RICO case for the government. Diddy would literally just have his workers stay with Cassie, would have his security guard stalk her to make sure where the fuck she was while he was going to go fuck his other bitches, right? Now, some of y'all could be like, well, he's just a rich player. It's being framed here as this is a racketeering organization for sex trafficking. So he would have his assistant stay with Cassie. You could tell why. Like, Diddy was jealous that maybe she was going to fuck some other rapper or something or NFL player. So he would tell her, or he would tell the assistant, watch her. And especially the times he couldn't be around her because he was with other women. So if you kind of realize this, you know, this is definitely some power and control type shit. Is it racketeering? I guess it depends on how you frame it. So he would put his assistant over there with Cassie. He would go do some other shit, right? And you got to imagine when it says he was going to be at his house with his kids. He was going to be at his house with his kids, and probably Kim Porter was there, right? Or maybe another woman or something of the sort. And he would just have people watch Cassie when he couldn't be around, right? And they're like, oh, we got to sneak out the house. Mia says, Prince performed on a little table. I saw Puff come in with his bucket hat. We lock eyes. I thought, oh, crap. So it looked like they snuck out the house, went to Prince's party. Remember, Diddy was supposed to be with his kids, right? Diddy was supposed to be with his kids. Obviously, I keep telling you, like, Diddy would just probably lie to Cassie and be like Cassie would be like, baby, could I see you tonight? And Diddy would probably be like, nah, I love you, Cece. I love you, baby girl. I can't be with you tonight. I got to be with the kids. You see, that's the thing about dudes with kids. When you don't want that side girl or the other girl to, like, be up in your business, you tell them, I got to be with my kids, and you're not my kid's mother, or my kid's mother going to be around, or this is a family thing, so you get them out the paint. So Diddy would lie to Cassie to say, yo, I got to do some family shit. She would understand, fall back, but Diddy know he finna go cheat, so he put his assistant to watch her that she can't go cheat. So then the assistant and her like, yo, let's go to this party. They pop up at the party. Diddy pop up at the party too, right? It says, okay. So it's a Prince performing a little table. Then I saw Puff come in with his bucket hat. We locked eyes. I thought, oh, crap. Cassie just booked it. AUSA says, where did you go? It says, across the street where there were woods or bushes, but Puff caught Cassie and had her on the ground. Damn, where was everybody else at? Mia says Puff just started attacking her, but Prince security quickly intervened. AUSA says, and later, Mia says, I went to another hotel. The next day, HR told me Puff was suspending me without pay. Did they say why? They said Puff said I was being insubordinate. That makes sense. Yeah, I told you to watch my chick while I go cheat, and you're over here helping my chick possibly go cheat. Also, you're helping catch me up because y'all snuck out when y'all should have stayed at the house, and y'all came to the same party or happened to show up at the same party I'm at. The fuck? Diddy was just trying to cheat in peace. All right. Holy shit. Yeah, these stories they're kind of hilarious. I ain't gonna lie. That's a good reason to suspend your fucking personal assistant. I told your ass to stay with her over there and y'all trying to party? Hell no. Give me a second. Let me I'm gonna catch up on donations. Here we go, guys. By the way, thank you guys for all the donations and all the memberships. Guys, please, everybody, become a member. Become a member. If you can, please become a member. All right. Let me read your donations. Bugsy Artist says, yo, you think at some point security is either going to be charged or testified? No, I think they're getting through all the personal assistance. They're breaking this shit up. I don't think we're going to see any more sex workers. They laid the groundwork for it. At time to time, as we get through some of these stories, we'll see a cop here or there, an investigator here or there. We might see a security for maybe a building or a clerk or somebody who worked front desk, depending on what story they're trying to pinpoint. But I think we got through male escorts. So I think they had to put the victim first. So they did Cassie first, or they did Cassie first, then all the male escorts. I think we're done with male escorts. Now it's all personal assistants. We've had a few personal assistants back to back to back. Capricorn Clark, personal assistant. Mia, personal assistant. What's the zesty dude, personal assistant. So we're getting through all the personal assistants, and I think we're going to get to security afterwards. Security's got to come, yes. I think D-Rock is coming up there. I think Roger Bonds might come up there. I think Uncle Paulie's going to go up there. Again, I don't think none of these people bang with Puff like that. And I think here's the thing. When you got certain people in your life for that long, it's almost like you got to keep them around. Because now, everybody who got fired by Puff, they're coming back around. But they're coming back around testifying for the government. Right? So, yeah, I think we're going to get a security version. And by the way, I think it's looking like Mia is just a victim too, but she hasn't really talked about, she talked about obviously some abuse that he did to her, but we haven't seen exactly the extent of how everything went. Here we go. Okay, cool. I'm surprised that Diddy would show up to a Prince's party and just wail on Cassie just in public. I thought all these beatings he would probably do around his employees, but not Like, oh, he sees her at a party, he probably be like, all right, yo, get in the car. And he's like, I'm gonna fuck, like one of those, I'm gonna fuck you up in the car shit. Not, I'm fucking you up at the party and Prince and security gotta jump in like, what the fuck you doing, bro? Chill. But also, you gotta remember, it is Diddy. So everything was probably like, you know, kind of like established or set in stone where people are looking at it like, dog, you got to cover up for Diddy or you can't check him too much if you've seen him doing something like that. And people were probably too scared to say anything because, yo, Diddy showing up to a Prince party was a big deal, right? Double G, double N, thank you for the 10. It says, I'm here for the crash out on rappers. Pure comedy. I'm hoping we don't have to do that today again. Fatima Jade, thank you for the 2. She says, I believe that Mia is Sarah Schridnecker. Who's this person? Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's see if we can find it. Diddy. Huh? That's the baby mom's. What? Wait, why do they have... This Kim Porter right here. Wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. She definitely was involved in some... Ooh. Sean Combs is developing a TV series, The Hustle, based on the life of his former assistant. You might have got it. Sarah. Ooh, you might have got it, chat. You might have got it. The Hustle will now focus on... who became an executive at Revolt Films. Nah, chat. Yo, who did that? Who did that? I know you guys are... Yo, you guys are smart. Oh, you might have got it on this one. You might have got it on this one. Oh, shit. Has anyone dropped Sarah? Cassie's first public outing after Diddy's arrest was with another former assistant, this woman. And they're saying, has anyone dropped Sarah Schnedeker into the chat? It's her, chat. It's her. Look, she was cool with Cassie. She's still cool with Cassie now. Oh, my God. Look, let's get into this. Look. Holy shit. Nah, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Let me write this down in my little notes. Okay, yeah, y'all got it, I think. Good. Notepad. Mia is Sarah Schrendecker? I don't know how to say her name, bro. What country is she from, bro? Okay. Wait. Where the fuck? No. Okay. Working for Sean Diddy Combs has a fair share of perks. You get to tag along to the hottest events. Deadline reports he signed a new ABC sitcom tentatively produced, The Hustle. The comedy is based on Diddy's real-life assistant who follows a small-town girl who gets a job with an A-list hip-hop mogul. Oh, let's go to the Deadline article. The Deadline article has been deleted. Why is the Deadline article deleted? Chat, y'all got it. You fucking got it. You guys are so fucking smart. I love y'all. Here we go. It was a scripted programming, single camera comedy, received a script of commitment. We need the script. It's real life events of the Diddy's right-hand woman, a small town girl that lands a job working as an assistant to a street-educated billionaire mogul, where she's instantly thrown into the world of extravagance, debauchery, and adventure. They were going to pen the script with the former attached to the director. Okay. Wow. You guys got it, this one. Holy shit. They take a break. The jury leaves. So how much longer on Mia's direct? It says the rest of the day. Oh, she's a key witness. They're gonna use all day to do direct. We'd like her off the stand by the end of the week. Meaning, well, today is Thursday, right? Yeah. So tomorrow. So they're hoping they'll finish today and they'll give the cross tomorrow and could probably do redirect and recross tomorrow. Wow. Who just became a member? Yo, Devonna Robinson, welcome to the chat gang, my girl. Ron Green, thank you for the 5 to act. I now understand why you say what you want. A lot of these niggas aren't real, and in real life, they want to avoid confrontations. Yo, Dash, thank you for the 5. Talking about, yo, you ignored the first super chat, playboy. I'm trying to take you shopping. You deserve it. You've been putting in that work. Love, King. Love. Yeah. Stop it, bro. All right. So we get to know who this is now. Dawson says, it says, I'm going to let Dawson take the time we wanted. Agnifilo says, I'm not blaming the court. It's a pattern I'm seeing. Just as is common courtesy. Okay, so what are they talking about? They said, this is a problem. First it was a flight, now this. Ooh, so they're basically saying, y'all are giving us time constraints with these witnesses. The judge is like, yo, hey, I let Dawson get the time he wanted. And Agnifilo says, I'm not blaming the court. I'm just seeing a pattern. Judge says, it's common courtesy. Agnifilo says, I don't know how long Mr. Steele's cross is going to be. They don't need to put these things on record. Judge says if we could complete this witness this week, fantastic. It keeps things moving. AOC Comey says many of our witnesses are flying from across country. So they're addressing why they're having deadlines on when these people should be off the stand. And so we're having people fly across country. We need to know for flights next week, Monday. Mr. Nash cross was twice as long as the direct. So they're saying, you know, we're already allowing the defense twice the amount of time without witnesses. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Smizer says Mr. Steele told us he anticipates the cross being an hour and a half or 2 hours in no event longer than the direct, not to hold him to it. The judge says, I want to keep on schedule. Steele says, how late will we be going? The judge says, latest 4 p.m. So they're trying to do this scheduling thing, and Brian Steele is not trying to be rushed or hurried for time. Okay? Interesting. So, chat, they're on lunch, but y'all are so fucking smart. Y'all got it. Has she ever done an interview? And I'm wondering, what year was this? But because Diddy, so this is in 2015, Diddy greenlit a series about her. I wonder why. Diddy used to not really try to promote those women who were in these type of positions, but look like this one, he wanted to. This is her and him. This is her and him. Oh, yes. Oh. This is her and Cassie. Oh. Does she got an Instagram? Instagram. Oh, shit. Oh, she do. No, that's not her. That's not her. That's not her. It's not. This is her and Diddy. Wow. Look, Cassie smiles at dinner with friends in her first sighting since Diddy got arrested. This is her with Mia, quote unquote. Sarah. Oh, wow. All right, come on, man. Of course, they showed me a fucking burger thingy. Thank you for becoming a member. Here we go.
You can get a son of.
Oh my God, they ran it back. How did they run the burger ad back? Yasmin, thank you for becoming a member. Who just gifted? It's my boy Top723, man. Shout out to my boy, man. He just made it rain in the chat. 5 gifts.
So Diddy's case or trial has finally started. They're picking out the jurors and stuff. Do you guys feel like Diddy will be freed, or you feel me, he's cooked. I've been reading a lot of comments. A lot of people has been saying that Diddy's cooked. You feel me? I don't even know how I necessarily feel about Diddy. Because, like, at first, everyone wanted him locked up. Then it's like, people kind of feel bad for him now. Because I'm not going to lie, the stuff he did to Cassie is 100% wrong. What he did to Cassie is 1,000% wrong. And people would never agree with it. But, like, if you want to call it for what it is, Diddy was a freak. Okay, if people underage are involved, lock him up, throw him under the jail. But if people underage aren't involved, bro, Diddy is a freak, bro. Like his lawyer said, he's a swinger, bro. Like you feel me? He might want to watch his wife get piped out. He might, you don't know what did he want to watch. He wants to watch everything. He's a freaky man. He's a freak. That's why they're called freak offs. Get all the freaks together. What do you think's gonna happen? Baby oil with stuff in it that when it goes into your skin, you're paralyzed. Like, yes, that's what happens at the freak off. There's obviously two parties to a Diddy party. There's the party, and then there's the party party. Have you ever been invited to the party party before? Probably not. But hey, man, let me know how you guys feel about Diddy. Do you want him locked up or do you want him free? Do you feel bad for Diddy? Even if Diddy gets freed, I think his career is done. No one's ever gonna work with him again. No brand's gonna work with him. You feel me? He's still gonna make money off. He probably has real estate like tenants and stuff, and probably like investments that we don't know about. So he's probably still gonna make money, but he's not gonna be making the same money as before. Like he's probably definitely at a billionaire status now. But hey, man, it's your boy Big X News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.